taking clones. Now, I remember back when I first started growing back in 2010, I think 2011 is when I actually started reading Jorge Cervantes' book, The Grower's Bible. So big shout out to Jorge. And one of the things in his book, he mentioned when you take clones, you should be taking them from the bottom part of the plant because it'll give you a higher chance of rooting due to the hormones. Now, is that the case? I know that we've learned quite a bit since that book was released in 2006. Break it down for us. Does taking clones from the bottom part of the plant have a higher chance of rooting due to the hormones?
So the first thing I want to say, the disclaimer here is, even diffusion is a theory. It's a theory. We don't know that, there was and I apologize, this is a real quick segue, but there was a TED Talk I saw where a guy got up and said, everybody raise your hand if you know something. And everybody in the room raised their hand, and he picked on somebody in the front room, and we'll just call him Dave. And he was like, okay, so what do you know? And he's like, I know my name's Dave. And he was like, okay, how do you know that? And he's like, well, it's on my driver's license, my social security card, my birth certificate. It's what my parents call me. It's what my wife calls me. And he's like, okay, well, he's got reliable witnesses. He's got documentation. We can be pretty confident that he's Dave. And he's like, what else do you know? And he's like, well, I know the earth travels around the sun. And he's like, does everybody agree that the earth travels around the sun? And everybody did. And he said, but how do you know that? Have you ever done the experiment yourself? Do you know it, or are you just confident? And so with all these myth things that we're going to touch on today, I want people, the big takeaway is use critical thinking, keep an open mind, covariance, and covariance. There's so many other, these are open systems. So even when we're trying to control for one toggle switch to flip, there's other things that are getting flipped. Nothing happens in a vacuum in those rooms. And so rather than people arguing, let's move the conversations forward. Let's be productive. Let's help each other. As I've been growing this amazing plant for 39 years, and for 38, I haven't been able to talk about it. And so for me, the fact that we can share, we should all just be, we should be so excited to help each other and share, humans like to be on teams. It's just part of our DNA, but in this could be one big team, and it would be really awesome. So to answer the question about the propagation, and I feel like, I was doing 20 to 40,000 cuts at a time for those HBCUs. So I've definitely had statistically relevant sample size, and I feel very, it's something I know because I've done it. I've done the experiment. I've done 80,000 cuts in a year, And so taking clones from the top and the bottom of the plant does not matter. The hormones don't load differently as far as the rooting hormones in the plant. You don't get better success using the top or the bottom of the plant. So you can take clones from every part of the plant. This is a great example of people having accurate data that's not good data. And what happens is what the white paper that people cite for this, that you want to take it from a certain part of the plant, is accurate data, but it's not for this plant. It's for a different plant. And so with that plant, yes, you do get better success, taking your clones from one area of the plant versus another, because you do get a different hormone load. This plant, it's not true. And so that's one that people can, confidently, do their propagation from top, bottom of the plant. I think it's more important to, the things that are important are rotating those moms every 6 months, making sure those moms are healthy. And I think that, IPM, getting something in there so that you don't get a week 8 fusarium explosion, making sure that you're testing root stock for HPLVD with, sufficiently old enough, root stock. That stuff's way more important. But as far as propagation, you can confidently take clones from anywhere on the plant. The big thing would just be to manage the health of that canopy. You don't want to over trim a plant or, cut someplace where there's not a node for growth or something like that. But
this clip is brought to you by AC Infinity. Use discount code MrGrow at 15 to save on any of their products.